Hello and welcome back to X-Plane 11. Thank you very much for joining me in this video. It's been a long time since I've made an X-Plane video. I think it's been over a month, and certainly a lot longer since I have flown. In that time I've moved my X-Plane install over to a completely new hard drive, added in a number of things, changed some things, and of course added in this aircraft which just was released recently. This is the Robin DR400 for X-Plane 11 by Just Flight, and this is what we're going to be taking a look at in the next couple of episodes. This aircraft costs £9.99, probably the cheapest aircraft in the fleet for Just Flight, the Just Flight catalogue, which is absolutely brilliant. It's not a sale aircraft, it is actually the permanent price of £9.99, which is really good considering that the other aircraft, tend to be some £30, £35 sometimes. So it's nice to have an aircraft like this, especially for those who want to start getting into a higher detail aircraft and can't really afford it. So for £10 you can get an aircraft like this. Over the next couple of videos I'm going to be taking a look at this aircraft, and we're going to do a full review of the aircraft including a flight. In this one we'll be talking about system specifications, what you actually get with the actual aircraft when you buy them, paint schemes, so on and so forth. We'll be taking a look at the modelling of the aircraft, the texturing, the details. We'll be talking about some of the things that are included in the aircraft, and then do a cockpit tour, making sure that we familiarise ourselves with everything on this aircraft ready to fly. In the next video, I'll then be taking it out for a circuit or for maybe a short flight, it depends. But we'll be taking it out and we'll see what this aircraft's actually like to fly, the physics, bring it in for a landing, and then I'll be able to give you my final impressions. So, as I said, the first thing we're going to do is go into the specifications, but first, I'll just quickly roll the intro. Okay, system requirements for this aircraft. I'm still doing this weird rotating thing around the aircraft, but we'll be stopping that in a moment. But the system requirements for this aircraft, of course, it is for X-Plane 11. It requires a CPU that would be roughly equivalent to an Intel i5 6600K, running somewhat 3.5 GHz or faster. I suppose if you've got an AMD, you'd probably be looking for a Ryzen 5, most likely. Yeah, you'd be looking for a Ryzen 5 or something like that, running, I would say, 3.5 GHz or more as well. It might not work quite as well on an AMD processor just yet, but it should still work fairly well. You need at least 8 GB of RAM, which I think most computers come with now anyway. A DirectX 12 capable graphics card, whether it's Nvidia, AMD or Intel's integrated ones, but I highly recommend that you don't use the integrated graphics cards. And I would probably go for, at this point in time, you're looking for probably a 1060 or higher to run this. You want about 4 GB of VRAM. Actually, I'd probably say a 1070 then. Would say not a 1060. 1060 Ti would probably work, although 1660 Ti's will certainly work, but 1070 would probably do this quite nicely. You need Windows 10, 8, 7 or Vista, which is odd, but it still does support Windows Vista. Mac OS X 10.10 or higher, or a reputable or reasonable Linux install. Ubuntu or something would do the trick, and 2 GB of hard drive space. So that's all the specifications, and the download itself is a 1 GB download, so make sure you've got space for that. But I mean, 2 GB on the hard drive, 1 GB for a download, that's nothing in today's talk, in today's terms. So that is all the specifications out the way. Let's get into the aircraft and just see what it's like inside. So here we are inside the aircraft. I'll move slightly further back. We can take a nice quick look around. And we'll talk about the modelling, the texturing in a moment, but first of all I am going to read something off the Just Flight website. So let's see what they've got and what they tell us about this particular aircraft. We're not going to be going too much into the history or anything like that. That could take a very long time. So we've got The DR400 is a wooden monoplane first flown in 1972, still in production in France as the latest DR401. This 4-seat piston engine aircraft is equipped with a fixed tricycle landing gear, a 180 horsepower 4-cylinder engine, and a large forward sliding canopy. The aircraft features a distinctive cranked wing design and sliding canopy, giving it a unique appearance amongst GA aircraft and excellent cruise performance. It's fitted with an auxiliary fuel tank for a total capacity of 240 litres, providing great range. The DR400's excellent visibility, payload capabilities and 130 knot cruise speed make it an ideal aircraft for touring and flight training. And of course over here we're going to be taking a look at these, so I'm not going to read all these instruments and what they are. I'm just taking a quick look on this to see if there's anything else to mention off the top of my head. No. That's about it. So there you go, some history about the aircraft. Now let's take a look at this aircraft inside and out. We'll start from the outside. And we'll take a good look at this aircraft. Now, one of the things that you might notice, this is not a bug in the aircraft or anything like that. You can see these panels. These panels. And you can actually see clear, sort of, it would look like, if this was a flat surface, it would look like the textures have gone a bit weird. But it's not the case. This is actually the design of this particular aircraft, and you can see the wing as well. The way the wing is designed, that angle there. So you're looking at, that's probably a 30-degree angle where it's going up, or 20 degrees or something like that, which is really nice. And you can see the wooden frame here. So that is actually part of the wooden frame. I think it's really, really well done. Just Flight have managed to get this working quite nicely. Great modelling. I want to check if that's actually a flat texture with a normal map. That's what I'm trying to check. I'm wondering if it is. It certainly looks like it. It may not be as flat as I think. That certainly looks 3D there. But I'm not sure about these bumps. There's certainly normal map and reflection mapping going on. I mean, you can see with the reflection mapping here, quick look at the textures. You can just see how the reflections do not sort of fly off the paint, or they don't bounce off the paint absolutely perfectly. Looks like there's actual dirt there, which is very, very nice. Similar things with the normal mapping. You can see there that there is a normal map applied, which gives this the kind of 3D effect in places where perhaps it's not quite as 3D. And I'm pretty sure that that normal map seems to be applied across the wing as well. That's not... They haven't got each of those panels perfectly shaped, I don't think. I think the normal map is certainly helping out with that. So all around, this looks very, very nice. Speaking of the actual liveries and the colours, this aircraft comes with 10 liveries. And the 10 liveries include 2 from the United Kingdom. So this one here, Golf Charlie Echo Tango Bravo, and we've got another one, Golf Bravo Echo Uniform Papa. We've got a USA one, which is November 74922, a New Zealand one, Zulu Kilo Tango Zulu Bravo, a German one, what's that? A German one, well done me, come on brain, Delta, there you go, Delta Echo Foxtrot Mike Delta. Canada, Charlie Lima Golf Echo Tango. We've got a French one. I'm surprised there's only one French one, given that this is a French aircraft. It's Foxtrot Golf Papa Alpha Papa. And then you've got a Netherlands one, which is Papa Hotel Echo Hotel Whiskey. An Australian one, Victor Hotel Kilo Mike Bravo. And an Austrian one, Oscar Echo Delta Sierra Echo. So those are the ones that you have. They're all different colours. I think the 2 UK ones are red. The other UK ones are much brighter red. The rest of the aircraft's white. It's got a much brighter red. The American one's similar to that. And then you've just got a few other colours. So that's from the outside. You can also see that we have tie downs and everything like that. The standard Just Flight panel is there. There you go. You've got the arrow there. I just scroll to hide that. And you can see we can get rid of the tie downs. If you get rid of the tie downs, you have a character inside. An animated character who is looking around. Or you can bring the tie downs back. And there you have it. Of course, we have the standard Just Flight stuff, but we're going to we're going to get into the aircraft and take a look around. So let's have a look. First of all, we've got the canopy, I've got to figure out how to open this canopy. That looks about right. There we go. So that's the way the canopy works in this aircraft, which is very, very unique. If I just take a look outside once again, that's a very unique style on this. You don't get many aircraft that have this style of canopy, which gives us excellent visibility, as you can see, which is something that the description was alluding to. But it's just very unique. Back in the aircraft, you can see it's quite spacious at the front, but not so much at the back. It's more like a small car. It does have a little bit of space at the back for 60 kilos of luggage. I think the maximum weight on this aircraft, maximum mass that we can have, is 1.1 tons, which is about 2,400 pounds, or thereabouts, 2,425 pounds, something like that. So that's the maximum mass that we can have, maximum takeoff weight. So not very heavy, but we can get a little bit into it. In terms of the modelling inside, everything looks like it's modelled very, very well. I mean, these all look like they can light up, all of this. Slight, maybe not as smooth around here, but you do have to think that normally you're going to be looking at these like that, so it doesn't really need to be perfectly smooth, and you can use that to smooth out these sorts of things, which is much, much better. Again, use of normal mapping there to help us out with the textures. Everything looks a little bit used. It doesn't look like everything is brand new here. You can see little scuff marks. I do quite like the texture of this wood here. That does look like a nice varnished wood that's actually over time has been sort of, the varnish is wearing off and it's losing that shine. That's very nice as well. The leather looks very, very realistic. So of course they are using PBR, physically based rendering. So we'll have PBR materials in here. You've got boot marks in the actual footwell. It does look very nice. And you even have what looks like in fact that is a checklist pilot manual, which it does come with 2 manuals. Of course, it has one manual and an operating data book. And over here we've got some magazines, some pilot magazines and things like that, which is interesting to have. It'd be nice to be able to get rid of those. It's a bit cluttered, I think. And at the back we've got a similar level of detailing. I can't actually drop any of this, or these windows don't roll down or anything like that. It's not a car. Got a little sticker there. Someone should take the sticker off. Well, I say take the sticker off. The reason that's there, because the original aircraft, which this one is based on, is owned by Sport Air in Chichester at the Goodwood Aerodrome. So that's where this aircraft is actually based, and that's the one that they had a look at. Carbon monoxide detector there. That's fine. Tacho underreads by 100 RPM at maximum. Okay, so we've just got to be careful of that. I don't know what that's covering up, but there we go. Let's have a look at the cockpit itself. So we'll have a look, get used to these systems, and see exactly what is in here. Right. We'll start with this, of course. Everyone knows what this is if you fly aircraft. This is our airspeed indicator. You can see that it does have the flaps indicator speed. You can see the white arc there. We've got the green arc all the way for the normal operating. After 140, it does go towards the caution range, and then we have, it looks like about 167 knots. It does look like 167 knots is where we have our never exceed speed. Next to that, we have our attitude indicator. I do quite like the way this attitude indicator is. I like this style. It's different, but it's a very nice style. So I do quite like that. We then have our altimeter, as you would get, complete with our control for barometric pressure right there to adjust the barometer to sort out its to have the correct pressure level. And so that is right there. Now I'll come back to these two in a moment because they're slightly different. We have our turn coordinator, right over here, and our bank indicator, bank angle indicator. Again, slightly different to what we normally expect. You'd see that the lines are a bit different. It's in fact it's quite different from what we get in a Piper or a Cessna, for example. So there is a difference there to get used to. We have our compass card or direction indicator right here, complete with a heading bug and a compass deviation, which actually doesn't seem to be moving right now. That's odd. Maybe the aircraft needs to be powered up. We've got our vertical speed indicator over here. Standard equipment, nothing really changed on that. To be honest, those 1, 2, 3 or 4 are generally the same no matter what. These two maybe have different background designs. These are essentially exactly the same, just different numbers depending on what's on there. Down here, we've got ourselves an ADF indicator, which will connect to our ADF system, which is right here. So this is the KR85TSO ADF system, the receiver, and then this is the actual indicator. Over here, we've got a couple of GPS lights which actually do work. GPS message, both of these are tied into this Garmin GNS430 unit, and I think if you've got the X-Reality units, that would come up somewhere here, and it might be, I don't know whether it ties into that, but it's definitely tied into this Garmin GNS430, and it will light up for this one if you're 30 seconds from a waypoint. I think it's 30 seconds, maybe 60 seconds. And on this one, it will light up if we've got a new message. So if we've got a new message on our Garmin, so in there, this will light up, and we'll probably see it in the next video when we are actually flying. Let me just put the throttle in like that so we can actually read some of this. Okay. Anything else I need to mention here? Oh. What on earth? Oh, there's an aircraft flying over. Very nice. Right, okay, fine. You do whatever you need to do. Over here we've got instrument lighting. So we've got lighting panels. Now this is kind of interesting because this instrument lighting panel seems to have a plus and a minus. So instead of a knob to turn to brighten or to sort of make, brighten or dim the actual instrument lighting, it seems to be like this. And we're going to use this shortly and see exactly what that does. We've got ourselves some information here. Our rotate speed, our rate of climb with our best climb speed here with flaps down, and flaps up. Our climb speed there, 92. That sound disappeared suddenly. We've got gliding speeds, flapless, flaps 1, flaps 2. So I'll bring us in for a glide slope there, 81 knots. We want 75 as we're coming into land. 70 is 66 if we've got full flaps. Why did it just do that? Something's resetting my my views, and I've got to try and figure out what it is. Like I said, new X-Plane installed, so some things might be resetting. Okay, over here, I forgot to mention this. This is our suction indicator. So this is our vacuum gauge. That tells us whether we're getting enough air coming in through the PSO tubes and all that kind of stuff. So obviously we want that in that range for it to be working correctly. Throttles, you've probably noticed, right there. Gives us our call sign up there as well, that's quite nice. Some little information here. Aerobatics apparently are prohibited when used in the normal category. This aircraft must be used for normal flying only in accordance with the approved flight manual. I know that this thing can do things like lazy 8s and steep turns and things like that, so I don't know why that's saying that. Over here we've got 2 nav indicators or 2 nav instruments. Now, it's quite interesting because this first navigation instrument has your localizer and glide slope as well as your standard VOR indicator. That's connected to this Garmin. The second one, however, is also a glide slope and localizer. So you've got yourself a localizer and glide slope as well as your VOR indicator. And that is an isolated system on its own. There is nothing here that connects to this system. You dial it in on the system itself, which is very, very unique. This is not something I have seen before in any aircraft, actually. I don't know what that is. Not sure what that is at all. but I've never seen this in any aircraft. Not only do we have two sets of localizers and glide slopes, we've also got an isolated system where the navigation indicator right here is also the system where we dial in the frequencies. I think that's rather cool. I think more aircraft should do that as opposed to having a separate tool here. Of course, this does defeat standby frequencies, so I suppose there would have to be some sort of something that you have to do for standby frequencies there. Moving on to this panel, this set of panels here, we've got our GMA 340, which is our audio panel. Standard things here, nav1, nav2, DMEs, ADFs. Oh, that's the other thing I forgot to mention. I just saw here when I was looking at this. I just saw the marker buttons there. This actually has markers as well. You can see the 3 markers right there, which is also rather cool. So yeah, standard audio. This is our GNS 430. Nothing different here. Slightly annoyed at that. That's a little bit over. I wish that was slightly over. It's wrapping around this bit here, which is annoying. Something I just noticed. When you zoom out, you can sort of notice it better. This here is our Bendix King KY97A TSO. So this is our... what is this? I've just got to have a look at it now. Communications. This is our secondary communication. It says COM2 right there. So our secondary communications, COM1 is here, COM2 is here. This here is our KN64, again Bendix King. This is our DME receiver. What on earth? I need to figure out what's going on there, because that's going to really annoy me. So this is our secondary receiver. Our DME receiver. It's got the standard functions, remote, frequency, and ground speed and time. So we can have a look at that once we're up in the air. Should probably have that as off. As a matter of fact, all of these should be off right now. How to check if that one's off, I don't know. And then at the bottom, we've got our STEC 55X. This is our little autopilot. A very rudimentary autopilot, but does have nav modes, approach modes, back course, altitude hold, and vertical speed, which you can control here. And of course, a heading select, which can be controlled over here. To select the heading, stick on heading select, and the STEC 55X will go ahead and do whatever it needs to do. Moving on here, we've got our tachometer here, which is odd. Normally you have a tachometer down here, but we've got the ADF radio here, kind of more compressed. So our tach is over on this side. Then we've got a standby altimeter right there. We've got ourselves an ammeter there. We've got this is just our gauges in general. So we've got an ammeter, oil temperature, oil pressure, fuel tanks. I think is that a reserve fuel tank? That's different. That's a reserve fuel tank. That's our main fuel tank. Left fuel tank, right fuel tank, and reserves. Which is interesting because we've actually got 4 fuel tanks there. Then that, I think, is the push to talk button there opens up the ATC. I've not tried it, but let's just try it. Yep, it opens up ATC. There you go. So that's what that one does right there. Anything else to mention here? Nothing up the top. We can now just move on to this lower panel here. This is weird. I find this weird where it just says Hones, because that should be phones and mic. I don't know why that's over. Maybe the real aircraft is like that because this extra bit was added at some point. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But yeah, that's phones, headphones and microphone right there. These are our our switches and breakers for our different lights. So you've got nav light, so you push that in. You can't push that into or pull it out, so you have to press that one to switch it off. So on, off, rotating beacon, on, off. Got some lights here, oil pressure, fuel pressure warnings, fuel tanks, left tank, rear tank, right tank, auxiliary pump, auxiliary fuel pump right there. We don't have a main tank, do we? So what is that main tank all about? I don't know. And it's done it again. I need to check that out. Right. That's not the aircraft, by the way. I think that's something in X-Plane. We've got flaps there, pitot heat, alternator. Day and night just dims the lights. If we move this out of the way, that's our magnetic selector. And again, we've got our moving. This is something that Just Flight did, I think with one of the Pipers. I think it was with one of the Pipers, and they decided to do that, and it's like, okay, fine. What? Something is right. I need to figure out what's resetting this, because that's going to be quite annoying. Sound-wise, it's quite nice. Starter there. It's a starter button, so we don't bring the key into a start position. It's a starter button. Next to the starter button, we've got ourselves a blank. I don't know what's supposed to be there, but it's a blank now. And then on the right side of that, we've got ourselves the master switch. Not a rocker switch or anything like that. This is just a literally pull up like you have one of these switches, just bigger. Alternator. We've got another button with a breaker on it. There's our mixture controls. You can see that the mixture controls do work. There you go. So to lean it, you pull it out. We've then got some air conditioning controls. So these are heating, warm air. You can see how it works. Defrosters, and so on and so forth. Carburetor heat is there. You can see that. Carburetor heat. Fuel pump with a breaker. Stabilizer. Now, I don't know what this is. I actually don't know what this one is. I think that is to put power into this, but I'm not sure. I'll have to check. I think that's what that's for. We've got the piezo heat. We've got left and right landing lights. And then we've got a bunch of other breakers for warning lights, indicators, stall warning, so on and so. I want to know what's moving that. So on and so forth. Then we've got... okay, move that out of the way. Then we've got that. The AV fan, I don't know what that's for. I don't think any of them actually work. So there we go. Moving on to the center console. Down here. The center console has our trim. You can see that we can move the trim there. So you can see that that's moving the trim like that. We've got a low voltage warning. We've got the reserve fuel pull. Now this is interesting. This allows us to pull fuel into different tanks. So from the reserve tank into the main tanks, which is pretty cool. Our parking brake right there, which I think I can indicate. I can change by that. There we go. Good noises. Listen to that. That's brilliant. Then we've got our fuel selector. At least I believe this is the fuel selector. I've not actually tried it. This is completely new. The aircraft, I'm completely new to the aircraft, but it does look like the fuel selector. Then we've got the trim wheel itself. I just use my flight controls to do that, but that's the trim wheel itself. And then down here we've got our flaps. So you can see that's flaps controls. That's flaps 2, flaps 1, and no flaps. It's like a handbrake in a car. You press the button and you lift it up, so you can see it. Press the button, lifts it up. There we go. Okay. Anything else I need to mention? Anything up here? Well, let's close the canopy and bring things back. And let's have a look. Well, here we go. We've got ourselves a whiskey compass right there. And we've got ourselves our outside air temperature. And that's it. And then, of course, we've got the canopy open close. And I think that is everything on this aircraft. I mean, we could take a look at this. We could take more of a look at this, but it's really not worth it because it's exactly the same as what you have on other aircrafts. So that's absolutely fine. I could always switch on the marker lights. There you go. They're on. I'm not sure if they're supposed to do that though. I'm pretty sure that these are supposed to light up in green. And I did make a comment in the last review I did of a Just Flight aircraft that they do this, but I didn't think the real aircraft do that because I didn't think they would light up until the aircraft is switched on. So I don't know. That might be a slight bug. Aside from that, that is everything in this flight deck, or in this cockpit, should I say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video here. Hopefully that's given you an insight into the aircraft, giving you an idea as to what you can get with the aircraft, and giving you an idea as to where everything is in this aircraft. In the next video, as I said, we're going to be taking this out for a flight. So for now, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more videos on X-Plane 11, and make sure you do hit that notification bell to make sure that you receive the notifications for any videos that I do create. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think of this video, and if you've bought the aircraft already, what do you think? And also, if you haven't bought the aircraft, is this something that is your cup of tea? If you do wish to purchase the aircraft, link will be in the description box below. I'm going to fix that between videos if I possibly can. It's done it twice. I'm going to see if I can fix that between videos. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. If you really do enjoy these videos and can do so, please support me on Patreon, www.patreon.com/ECGadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out. Link to that is also in the description box below, and you can find me on social media at ECGadgetLP for both Twitter and Instagram. That's all from me, and I'll see you guys next time in X-Plane 11, where we will start this aircraft up and take it out into the air and get a final feeling for it. I'll see you guys then.